Hey guys, creator mom. So I wanted to make another video about eating and stuff like that, and trusting the body, things like that. I haven't talked about it in a while, but I'm still on my path of after reading the Fuck It Diet. I read it twice. The second time it really hit deeper. I might read it a third time someday, or maybe read a different book. There's another one called Brainwashed by a woman named Elise. I forget her last name, but yeah. I feel as though this way of eating is just the way that is calling to me, and it had been for a long time, but I was like thinking that I don't know, I was thinking that it was because I was weak and because I just don't feel like I have the strength to be on a specific diet and deal with cravings and all that shit. I was like, I really don't have time to be bothered with that shit because I have a lot going on. And I think that in our culture today, what I just said out of my mouth is interpreted as, I don't have time to be eating healthy, right? Ah, man. I'm like, if our culture was God, there are just certain statements that are complete and absolute sin, such as the one that I just made. I don't have time I don't have time to be consumed with that, I just want to eat normally and move on with my day. And people interpret that as meaning I just want to eat donuts all day, and for me personally, that's not what that means. Because I eat donuts whenever I want, I don't really crave donuts, I don't know why I'm using donuts as an example. I just am. I can have a donut if I want to, but do I want one? No, not really. So it's just kind of like when everything's on the table, I don't have to excessively want something because I know that I can have that thing whenever, and I can rely on, do I genuinely feel like having this food right now? Like, no, not really. I don't have to eat it for the sake of eating it. Again, this is me personally. Everyone is different, and I believe that everyone should follow their own inner guidance about what they put in their own mouth. I just can't make that any clearer. Like, I don't care what other people eat. I could care less. What I care about is that people are not violating their own conscience, that people are walking in line with their own mindset and their own beliefs for their own body. I think that's the most important thing in the world. And that's what the Fuck It Diet really is about, too. It's about coming back internal to you and what feels good for you. And that's how I interpret it, And everyone should be doing that, getting in touch with themselves and how they're feeling when they're eating and what makes them feel good and what doesn't. Things like that, I think that's what's important throughout this whole journey. Not necessarily about, oh, here's a diet and here's the rules and I'm going to adhere to this rules because they said that this is the healthiest way to eat. That's disconnected. We want to become connected with ourselves in everything, in life, in this life. It's the whole point. So for instance, the other day, so one of my kids wanted to try Fruit Loops. Awful cereal, right? Another sin. It's a sin. Sinful to the health community. Fruit Loops, don't you know that's the worst? These cereals are the worst. They're packed with sugar. They have pesticides and the grains and the corn and the wheat and the dyes and the toxic, we could go on, right? It's so bad, right? So, but anyways, I don't restrict. I don't believe in restriction. So if somebody wants to try Fruit Loops, well, guess what? We'll try Fruit Loops. And they didn't like it. They didn't like it at all. But they got to try it. It's not a curiosity in the mind, a form of restriction. Like, oh, I really want that. Mom won't let me have that, So it's like, oh, you want to try it? Fine. So long story short, we had a box of Fruit Loops hanging around. And I had some the other night. I was like, oh, let me have a bowl, you know? It tasted good, tasted fine. It wasn't like all that. Then I swear to God, I had anxiety before I went to bed. I think I ate it in the evening, but not right at bedtime. I noticed, I don't know if it's a mental thing, but the Fruit Loop cereal and the pumpkin Cheerios, I wanted to try because I love pumpkin flavored things. And in all honesty, the pumpkin Cheerios tasted really good. Like they weren't excessively pumpkin tasting. It's artificial anyways, but it tasted really good. And that also I felt like that gave me a reaction of anxiety. Uh, excuse me. So now, well, I have this decision. I don't like when I ate those things. I don't like how I felt afterwards physically. So I just threw the Fruit Loops away. Like, I'm not gonna eat it because I didn't like how I feel. So that's just like me being connected to myself. Now somebody else might have Fruit Loops or Cheerios and be completely fucking fine and have no reaction. So to each their own. Um, there's only one more thing I wanted to mention. So the whole thing with intuitive eating, I feel like intuitive eating has been hijacked by a bunch of, not bunch of, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but like more orthorexic focused eating. Like, and Caroline Dooner goes over this in her book as well about intuitive eating. Like she thought, oh, intuitive eating means I'm going to eat the most healthy things all the time, and I'm going to eat the perfect portions, and I'm going to lose so much weight. Like somehow intuitive eating got hijacked, I think. And I see it. I see it on YouTube. I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know about that. So now I'm like, okay, we have to type in the phrase unrestricted eating. Unrestricted eating. That might get hijacked too by orthorexia, but I don't know. Guinea pigs they must want something. I think it's time for their kibble. They're so funny with food. The Bowser, I think he's like the more dominant one in the boys' cage. He starts chasing the other one around when I notice when he wants food, when they need something else. I usually give them veggies when I get up in the morning, but it might be time for them to get their kibble too. So, guinea pigs love to eat. What else did I want to say? Yeah, unrestricted eating. So that's the new phrase. Unrestricted. This is another sinful phrase in our culture. I eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and how much ever I want. When I said that, did you imagine like cake and pizza and donut? Maybe that shows restriction. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But when I hear that phrase, I eat whatever I want, how much ever I want, when I want, like whenever I'm hungry. I think of all kinds of foods, any type of food. Steak, chicken, rice, ribs. I had ribs the other day, but I noticed like with pork, my body does not like eating too much pork. Like with the pork ribs, it becomes queasy after like two ribs. It's just like, ugh. I don't know why. Maybe it's parasites. I don't know. So yeah. What else? I think of all kinds of food. Any type of food. A sandwich. I don't know. Shrimp, pasta, anything. So, all right, unrestricted eating. That's just my update.